Welcome to the Talking Fail podcast. I'm your host this week, Will, and joining remotely due to public safety concerns, we have Tyler.
Yes, I'm home quarantining for this episode. Also, that intro is a lot longer when I can't hear it.
Yes, when you're not here in person, you can't hear the intro.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Tyler, you brought a friend.
Yes, I have other friends who podcast. We have TV's Travis. Hi Travis. I was gonna call you
Hello.
Hi TV, but that's not your first name. Um,
No,
s-
Travis works.
yeah, so we met on America's Next Top Podcaster. We were both contestants. We never actually got to work together, but because of the show, I've been on your show a couple times,
hmm
and it's been fun.
Well, we did work a
Um,
little bit together in the wild cards.
oh yeah. I forgot about that. But that was fun too.
hmm
So
Well, Tyler, I don't
yeah,
want to step on your shoes, but there is a bit of a crisis going on. I know you didn't want to talk about it, but I had to
okay.
bring it up. There is a huge crisis right now. You may have heard about it. Tom Brady has signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Has he officially signed now?
Uh,
I know. I saw
not
that he was leaving
officially,
Patriots.
not
I saw he was
officially,
Okay.
okay.
but it's like almost official, and it grabs your attention more if I say he officially. Blatant lies are good for news articles.
Well, there's a lot of NFL news going on right now, surprisingly. I mean, given that there's no other sports happening.
There's
And
no sports happening at all.
yeah, but there's a ton of NFL news because
Yeah.
you had the Tom Brady thing. Apparently, the Carolina Panthers are just like, yeah, sure, we'll give Cam Newton a trade. And Cam Newton responded on Twitter with the weirdest font I've ever seen. It looked like a serial killer font. And it was just like him responding with, I didn't ask for this. Don't put it on me. It's just, okay, sure.
So Tyler hates sports, but it sounds like you like sports.
Yeah, Will loves
uh,
sports.
yeah, I watch a little sports here and there.
All right. Uh,
So we can make Tyler uncomfortable for the entirety of the show this way.
That's fine. I
Tyler,
can,
do you
yeah.
know about my childhood rival, or not rival, nemesis,
Me?
Philip Rivers, who plays
Oh,
for the Chargers?
Not anymore, he doesn't.
And then now he's leaving. Thank God.
okay, cool. That's neat, Will.
That's yeah. So, but in
Glad.
smaller, nobody cares about news. Coronavirus is killing everyone. So whatever. Uh,
Um, okay. Hey, Will, can I go back to introducing our guest without, or do you have
I,
more things you need to
I,
talk
s-
about?
I suppose I'm out of sports news, but I can Google some real quick if you want me to, Tyler.
Oh, pass. Travis. So, Travis, what is your show? What's the premise behind your show?
So my show is called Wait You Haven't Seen, and it's movie discussions. But every week, I have somebody, whether it's me or one of my guests, has never seen the movie that we're watching, so it's their first time watching it. So I either get to experience something that maybe I wish that I had seen and didn't get a chance to, or I get to show somebody something new. And I think my dog has to go outside because he has gone upstairs and is barking now.
Oh,
Um,
if you need to go, you could.
yeah, I better go check on him
It's okay.
because
Will and I can
stuff's
go.
here. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll be back.
I've got a couple stray dogs that I can check on too.
We need to do this in turns, though. Like
Um,
Travis is going right now. You and I will talk, and then when Travis gets back, then you can go check on your stray dogs or whatever.
uh,
Um,
oh yeah, I
yeah.
guess we could talk about how, in addition to everybody being quarantined at home,
Mhm.
my home is somebody's trying to burn down my home.
Oh yeah. You mentioned that.
The
You-
complex that I live in. I don't want to make that sound like some dark thing. It's my like
it's a it's a,
apartment
it's a it's
complex.
a comp it's a compound.
Yeah,
Yeah.
compound that I'm living. My the camp.
hmm
Yeah. Um yeah, one of the buildings got set pretty on fire. Like an entire apartment is was like lit on fire.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, because you showed me pictures and videos of it the day it happened. But is it in your building?
It is not connected to my building, but it is one of the adjacent buildings in my like parking lot area. So
Right,
it's
right.
really close. And when I was driving home and pulling into my parking lot, I just see this building on fire and I'm like, "Huh, I don't remember that being on fire when I left." And there was like so much smoke, like could hardly breathe. I actually arrived home like maybe 4 or 5 minutes before the fire department. So when I show up, I'm like, am I the first one to notice this? Because it was pretty early. And I was like, man, am I going to have to actually do something?
You're gonna have to be the first responder.
Because every time I see a fire, I'm like, boy, I better like stand here and make sure somebody else calls 911
Right.
because I don't want to do it.
Oh, okay, I'm back. Sorry
Right.
about that.
All
So
right.
quick a recap. Will lives in an apartment complex, and one of the other buildings in the complex, it was on fire.
Oh,
Like really
Yeah.
bad. Like I think that entire apartment is done, and all of the attached apartments are like
yikes.
quarantined.
Ooh, that's not good.
So
But,
have good luck with staying at home and not leaving.
Yeah, good luck with social distancing when you don't have an apartment.
Yeah, and they're probably not going to get their security deposit back.
Probably.
Just a guess.
Yeah. I mean, I've never been a landlord for like this situation, but
Yeah, I'm not sure what the protocol is there, but
Yeah.
And after I rushed in and pulled the couple out of their home and saved their lives, I did notice the wife or girlfriend, I don't judge, was definitely very pregnant. So,
oh boy.
that's
yikes.
great. But Travis, yeah. So you've got a show. You watch movies that somebody hasn't seen before,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah, yep, and it's a lot of fun because I
Yeah.
usually get to I usually get to show somebody a new movie that they haven't seen.
Yeah.
You know, I found somebody who'd never seen Die Hard before, somehow made it to in their 30s without having seen Die Hard.
yeah, an adult male.
Yes, at that. An adult male, an adult period who had never seen The Princess Bride. Knew of it,
Yeah,
had
yeah.
never seen it.
Well, it's
And I have a
girl
pretty
movie.
and I have a pretty good batting average of everybody liking the movie they've seen for the first time, with two exceptions, and those were Tank Girl. Nobody liked that, except for me. And the funny thing with that is it's not a good movie. I just enjoy it. But the other one was 2 weeks ago, Judge Dredd with Stallone.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
It's been forever since I've seen the Stallone version.
It's not good.
I feel like
Yeah.
it's the right amount of cheese that I would like it.
Maybe, but you also have a lot of Rob Schneider to deal with.
Oh, who doesn't
And,
love
like-
Rob Schneider?
But it's the mid 90s forced Rob Schneider, you know, and that's not, it's not good.
It's not great.
Making guilty.
Yeah, we had a lot to say about that one. It's amazing how much Stallone threw his weight around for that movie, and
Yeah.
how much he changed for it.
Yeah. I need to rewatch it in 2020.
You should.
Yeah, because I only remember bits and pieces of it, and yeah, it was back in the day. So
Is
Yeah,
it worse than the Carl Urban?
hey, don't
No,
you-
that version is great, and I will
Yeah.
fight you.
Okay,
Yes.
great.
is that like a test or something, Will?
Yeah, it was a test.
First of all, Carl Urban never took the helmet off, like, which is, you know, on brand and perfect. But no, we actually just this past Sunday we watched that one. So I had Drew, who was another one of our co-contestants,
Yep.
and Hammond, the producer of America's Next Top Podcaster, both came on for Judge Dredd, and I had him come back the next week, and we watched 2012 Dredd. So I got to be like, all right, here's the bad version, and now you can see the good one.
It's
And-
good that you gave them the payoff.
I had to. Especially Drew, because he had never seen either one, and he really did not like Judge Dredd. So I felt good showing him the better one and being like, see, this is what can happen when somebody who knows what they're doing makes a movie.
No, that's good. That's good.
I feel like
Uh,
I just want Carl Urban to like be successful. Like I'm just rooting for that guy.
Oh man. Is
I
there
mean,
is there somebody who likes being in like geek properties more than him? I mean, think of all this. He we
Lord of
talked
the
about this.
Rings,
Yeah, he started off
Star
like he
Trek.
made the mainstream Lord of the Rings, Star Trek,
Yeah.
Doom. He's done video
Yeah.
game movies.
Thor.
Yep, he was in
Yeah.
Thor. He's in The Boys.
Yeah.
What was that TV show he did? It was short lived, like Almost
Oh,
Human.
yeah, Almost Human, which was a great show. I watched that every week. I knew it was going to get canceled from episode 1,
Yeah.
but I watched it every week just because I needed to support a good sci-fi show on Fox.
Boy, they have a terrible track record with sci-fi shows, don't they? Like
Yeah.
for every Fringe that lasts 4 or 5 seasons, they have Firefly and Almost Human and all this stuff that makes it less than a season.
And
Yeah.
wasn't that where Arrested Development was on Fox,
Was
right?
it?
I think
Was
it was.
Yeah.
That's
So
that
Yeah.
feels like a Fox show.
Arrested Development is near and dear to my heart.
Well, mine too. But yeah.
At some point, I will watch all of that. I've seen parts.
Just, the first 3 seasons.
Right? Yeah, I've heard that. Well, so? I know they did 3 seasons. It got canceled, and then they did a fourth season was on Netflix, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but it was like almost 10 years later or more
Yeah.
than 10 years
Yeah,
later.
it was a
so-
long time, and it
And
did
like-
not feel the same.
That's
Yeah.
hard to do. I mean, it's hard to reboot a show or bring a show back. The one recently that I read about was The Kids in the Hall coming back,
Really?
Yeah.
and
All the original
I am-
members.
yeah, I am cautiously optimistic because The Kids in the Hall was very influential for me. I mean, it came out just the right time, and it was like the anti version of SNL. Like it was the crazier, even later at night version of SNL. And I watched a ton of that. I love that show. It was a huge influence on my group of friends and our sketch comedy that we did.
Hmm.
So I want it to be good, but it was 20 something years ago that it went off the air. And I'm worried that it won't last. And I feel like it'll start off good because those guys are too talented, but how long they can keep that going.
And
Right.
does the humor translate to the year 2020?
Right. That's the other part of it too. How much have they changed, and the landscape of just humor in general, how it's changed.
Yeah.
I was
Um,
pretty
it's-
young when that came out, and I saw a little bit of it, but I think Tyler was a little bit better of an age.
I only saw it like on reruns, like on Comedy Central. But I remember, there's like the, oh, I'm squishing your head one, and then like, no, and I'm blocking you. Like,
Yeah, they were very Monty Python absurdist humor.
Yeah.
They had the crazy stuff. Like they had an entire skit. It's one of my favorites that they ever did, where the guy, he walks into the store and he's just looking for shoes, and the guy working in the store mopping is like, "I'm sorry, I don't speak any English." And then it's these long soliloquies about how he can't speak English, all in English. And it's so funny because he rolls and rolls and he's like, "Yeah, I can say this in one of like 4 different languages now, but ironically not my own." And it's just like that kind of absurd humor that I love.
I don't think I ever saw that original sketch, but that means that Family Guy totally ripped that off, and I've seen it somewhere else too.
Yeah,
recently.
Family Guy's ripped a lot off.
Yeah.
As much as I like Seth MacFarlane, he definitely pays homage to a lot.
Yeah, there you go. That's what it's called. Pay
What?
it off.
His show, the space one, seems totally original to me.
Yeah, it's certainly not based on any other property that's been around for 50 plus years at
Yeah.
all.
Good. I'm glad. I am glad I can count on Seth MacFarlane.
Oh.
Sorry, real quick. I have a headline to report on. This just in: all magnets in headphones have been found to cause permanent and irreparable brain damage. So I'm not sure how that's going to affect podcasters.
Explains a lot.
I mean, Travis and I are both wearing headphones right now.
Mhm.
Big magnets on our ears. How
I
are you
can't
doing,
hear you
Will?
guys.
Oh well, if I'm going to go down, I'll go down with magnet-induced brain damage. That's fine. There's
Yeah, I mean-
worse things that could happen to me.
Yeah, it can't be that bad, huh?
All right, I'll risk the brain damage to talk to you guys.
I mean,
Oh,
I haven't
thank
gotten
you.
cancer from my cell phone yet, or the windmills outside. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I do worry how close pockets are to my testicles.
That was a big thing of like the heat from laptops in your lap.
yeah,
The
And jacuzzis.
oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Tyler knows.
What?
Tyler knows what I'm talking about.
What? No.
Jacuzzi. Um, yeah, I feel like there's just a lot out there that wants to destroy your balls.
yeah, and they're just they're vulnerable. You know, you got to be careful and always protect
Right.
the boys.
Yep.
It's like if there was just a sack on the outside that had your heart. Your heart was just sitting outside of your body,
Just hanging there.
It's the exact same thing.
except it would be a little better. I would take that trade.
Would you though? Would you really? I mean, I guess, but I don't know.
Well, at least the heart's smaller.
Right.
It doesn't hang as low.
Well, it just all depends on how warm it is in the room.
No, I mean, sorry, we could all the way back to your like the premise of your show because I like to share because I always like, oh yeah, you've never seen this movie or you haven't, oh you haven't seen Die Hard, like it's crazy, stuff like that. I'm always doing that kind of thing. But I've got an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old boy, both boys, and my job is now, oh yeah, you haven't seen this, you haven't seen that, like
Right.
it's really fun to I'm doing your podcast but to children. That's
With probably a more receptive audience, if I'm honest. I mean,
I mean it's sometimes I'm usually pretty good at having some wins,
Mhm.
but um
Yeah, just the other
go-
day, what was it that you showed them? The Room?
no. No.
no one should see that. I've seen it now, finally. I hadn't seen that before, but I went to a late night showing at our local theater a couple of months back, like
Oh, on the
complete
big
with
screen.
spoons to throw at
Nice.
the screen and everything. And that's the only way I would ever watch that movie because, man, that's bad.
I think I've seen it over a dozen times.
You own the DVD,
I do not
right?
own the DVD.
Oh,
I
I'm sorry.
have a copy of the
Okay.
movie.
Ah.
Okay. All right.
So you said they're how old? 8 and 6?
Yes.
Okay, so they're still a little bit young to show them Alien, but you can
Yeah,
work up to that.
yeah. So that's one of the things
Just-
that like I don't want to I don't want to not show them scary movies because at a certain age, then you're going to just be like freaked out by scary movies in general. I want to kind of slowly introduce it. So
Start them with like Scary
the-
Movie 4 so their expectations are low.
Well, no, I mean honestly, but
but,
honestly, what
yeah.
you do is you show them the scary movies that we had when we were that age.
Yeah.
So, because if you think about like 80s kids movies and early 90s kids movies, they were scary in a way because so we covered The Dark Crystal on my show.
Okay.
And one of the things I learned when I was researching that, because that was a funny one, I was watching it in the airport on my way back from Chicago, realizing I've never seen this movie before.
Yeah, I've never seen
I
it.
knew it. I quote the movie, for crying out loud. I'd never watched it. So I watched it. We did it that week. But when I was researching it, I found out Jim Henson, one of the things he liked was he was like, kids need to be scared a little bit. It's healthy for them. So
Yeah.
that's why the imagery in that movie, like the Skeksis are freaky, but it's still a kid's movie. So you can show them stuff like that, or the Monster Squad is another good one.
Okay. Yeah,
It's sort of like Discount Goonies.
okay. I don't think I've seen that one either.
Yeah, that's like it's got all the Universal monsters. So it's got like a
Oh.
Frankenstein's monster and Dracula
Okay,
and the Wolfman and all that. But it's all centered around this group of kids. That's a good one. Ernest Scared Stupid is another good one because it's funny. It's earnest, but it's also kind of toes the line of like being legitimately creepy and scary with some of the makeup effects that the
Okay.
trolls had and all that. So those are some good ones.
All right. So far I've started with we watched all of Stranger Things to kind of
Good.
start it out.
That would do it.
Then for Christmas I got a Alfred Hitchcock box set of Vertigo, which they totally tuned out on, and me watching Vertigo again after like 20 years, I was like, oh yeah, I kind of get it. It's a boring movie.
Yeah.
But they really enjoyed Rear Window.
That's a good one.
What else? North by Northwest was my oldest favorite. But basically, we built up and we watched Psycho.
Yeah.
And my oldest is the most is of my 8-year-old is more squeamish about scary stuff than my 6-year-old, which is I find hilarious because my oldest hated Psycho, and then when we watched like these 4 or 5 or 6 Hitchcock movies, I asked them both which one was your favorite and which one was your least favorite, and for my 6-year-old, Psycho was my 8-year-old's least favorite.
Mhm.
Show me this movie, and my 6-year-old was like, Psycho was my favorite. So I mean that's a little scary because he spoiler alert, he murders his mom and kills his
Right.
parent.
Did they guess the twist?
No, they didn't see it coming.
I'm disappointed in them.
Okay. But we also watch Signs, which is I'm kind of in the I'm building up to like actual horror and slasher stuff, but
Yeah, but those
you
are
know,
good to start with because they're
suspense and
that
jump
suspense
scare.
and that tension.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where I'm at right now. I am looking forward to the age though when it's like, all right, it's time to sit down with Alien. Here we go.
Mhm. Alien, the first Halloween.
Yeah. I'm built. The thing I was gonna say, the thing is still scares me. Like I've seen the thing like 5 or 6 times.
So
And I enjoy it, but it also like freaks me out every time.
yeah, so our local theater, except currently, obviously, does Friday night flicks, and they'll show older movies and more culty movies. That was The Room. They did The Thing just recently, and so I like to go to those. And I have a 13-year-old stepson from a previous relationship, and I would go with him and his dad, and he was like, "Oh, we're gonna go see The Thing." I was like, "Kid, you are not prepared for this." He's like, "Oh, come on!" He went to an all night Halloween marathon this past year, and Friday the 13th one year, and all this. I was like, "You're not ready. You are not. I can't explain why, but you're not ready." The movie got done. He gets up out of his seat. He turns on. He looks at me. He goes, "Yeah, I wasn't ready for that at all." It's like, no, you can't be, because that one's just the visuals in that are so just insane.
Yeah, the defibrillator section specifically, that every time.
But he kept coming. And what was funny is while the visuals he wasn't prepared for, he kept coming back to the whole like, this movie's giving me trust issues.
Yeah.
That was what he kept saying, and that's him at 13 seeing it versus say at like 10 or 11. He like grasped onto that part of it so much more.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's when you really got to work up to, because of that. I think there's like layers to The Thing that make it more.
And then you had to try and kill him to freak him out. Really drive home the point.
I waited until he was just about to fall asleep.
Yep.
Then tap on the window from outside. All sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah.
The two of you shared a bottle of whiskey, except it was gasoline.
Yeah, that was fun explaining the ending to him, or trying to.
So where do you fall in the ending of?
Well, I mean,
yeah,
the best version of it that I heard was, Childs is the Thing because he doesn't have breath coming out, whereas Mac does. Except where that falls apart is shots before they sit down, you can see his breath. It just had to do with the angle they were at.
Right.
It's hard for me to say because Carpenter, I don't know. I mean, in the end,
I think he said that it's ambiguous, right? Like,
yeah, he definitely said it was ambiguous,
which makes sense for the director to not weigh in on one side or the other.
Yeah, and that's John Carpenter. I mean, he's just gonna be like, whatever. I made a movie, and
yeah,
I don't know what the ending was. I would say, I think that because Childs like disappears for part of the movie and then shows up at the end, sure, perfectly plausible that he was the Thing.
Right.
And if that's the story you want to go with, go for it. But it's also perfectly plausible that it wasn't him and they just both decided to freeze to death. It's hard to say because they never got along. They never liked each other anyway.
Right.
So, but that's what I like about it. I like ambiguous endings like that because the whole movie is a downer anyway.
Yeah. because I mean the thing is still like no matter who, if it's any of them or neither of them or both of them, it's still on Earth. It's still not, it's I don't think it's going to get frozen again. So it's still around.
Yeah.
So it's kind of freaky.
Yeah. The only hope is that it, it freezes out in the open and can't reconstitute itself. Kind of the ending. So have you ever seen the movie Fallen with Denzel Washington?
No, I don't think so.
So, man, I don't know if I want to ruin it for you then, because it's actually a pretty cool movie. But there's a bit at the end, not exactly like that, but is sort of what I kind of like to think about is terms of like what happened to the Thing.
Okay.
If you get a chance to see it, it's like a late '90s Denzel Washington, John Goodman.
John Goodman.
Yeah, I'll see anything with John Goodman in it. So, but it's good. He's a cop.
All right.
And he's a cop. He's put this like serial killer away, and then he gets the death penalty. That guy dies, but then somebody starts copycatting him.
Oh, okay.
That's all I'll tell you, and I'll let you
All right.
enjoy it for
Yeah,
yourself.
Yeah, sounds good. Will is a huge fan of Shawshank Redemption.
Good movie.
Okay, I was gonna say if you haven't seen it, then Will's gonna quote it a bunch of times. But,
I've seen that one for sure. It's one of the better. I mean, it's a Stephen King adaptation.
Yeah.
That's good because number one, it's not one of his horror novels, which are always King horror stuff is hard to adapt because it's like Lovecraft. It's very cosmic horror, very inside your own head horror.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's always like I love H.P. Lovecraft stories, but his stuff is always so hard to adapt because so much of it is what goes on inside your own brain. I did just see Color Out of Space just recently. Came out 2019. It's got stars Nick Cage.
Okay.
And that was probably the best adaptation of Lovecraft I've seen yet, next to The Thing.
It's a recent, like 2019.
Yeah, very recent and pretty well done. It's Nick Cage getting to go full Nick Cage, which is always a treat.
Yeah, I mean that's why you hire Nick Cage.
Like
right.
The vampire one.
Oh, so for my show, I deemed August as Nick Cage month.
Oh, awesome.
So every year in August, we're going to do nothing but Nick Cage movies.
Every month past year, Nick Cage month.
If you try hard enough. So this past year, I saw Vampire's Kiss for the first time, and I mean, I didn't know what to expect. That's a trip. I mean, that movie is like that's something else. If you've seen it,
no, I've never seen it.
You've never seen Vampire's Kiss?
No.
You need to see Vampire's Kiss.
Right.
It's the best description I can give for it is it's not Nick Cage at his best. Okay, that's like Leaving Las Vegas or Bringing Out the Dead. And it's not Nick Cage at his worst. Okay, that's your I don't know. A lot of movies. It's Nick Cage at his most.
Which is a great way to describe it. Like I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. It's just Nick Cage dialed up to 11 throughout the whole movie. Oh, it's brilliant.
All I had ever seen were like, the highlights of him, the crazy acting, like the A, B, C, D, E, F.
Yeah, same for me and then I watched it and you realize that's the whole movie.
Yep, it's the entire movie.
What's great is, Will, have you seen the videos that are like with commentary track with him?
No, I have not. There's a commentary track.
Yes, and it's him and the director, and it's amazing because he'll be watching the movie. And he's just like, I don't know what I was even doing here. I'm not sure what that is at all. Like he'll do something in the movie. He's like, what does that look like? What is that move even? He's critiquing and making fun of himself. He's like, you let me do whatever I wanted, and I did it.
Was that like a long time after?
It sounded like it was quite a while after, yeah.
Okay. I could see that if like a bunch of time had passed.
Yeah, I mean, it was basically like almost like a student film because it was the director's first movie.
Mm-hmm.
And They pretty much just got to go to New York. I think Cage brought like a cat with him and had a cat in the apartment he was staying in for the entirety of the thing, and was just sitting there. And I don't know if he was doing drugs with the cat or what.
Share. Well, you got to share.
Well, of course, but I mean, I don't know. It's just Tyler. Tyler, you got to watch it.
All
Trust
right,
me.
Yeah, I'm putting this on my list.
It is
same
an
with Color Out of
experience.
Space. Yeah.
Color Out of Space, I was really impressed with. Because again, like I was saying, Lovecraft is so hard to adapt, and they kind of captured the feeling of it really well.
Have you seen
And I
that?
think
that Nick Cage movie where like the parents want to kill their kids?
that's not Mandy, right? That's a different one.
I forget what it's called, but every single parent suddenly has like this disease where they try and murder their own child. And it's Nick Cage just like going insane trying to murder his children.
I think I heard about this.
It was
I can't remember the name of it. It's like Parents or something, though, isn't it?
yeah, I think it was something like Parents, and it's Mom and Dad. Is the
Oh,
name.
Mom and Dad. That's
Mom and
the
Dad.
one.
Yep.
Yes, I have not seen that.
It was surprisingly like not bad. Like it's a zombie apocalypse almost, but they're totally normal until they see their own kids.
Well, the funny thing about Cage is he's not a bad actor at all.
Mhm.
Like he can
Right.
be really good. If you've ever seen Lord of War,
Yo,
he's
that's a great
phenomenal in
movie.
Lord of War.
Yes.
Bringing Out the Dead, I love him in that. Even though I think he and Scorsese both aren't huge fans of that movie, I thought it was really, really well done. But I think you get the right director with him in a project that he really cares about, he can be a good actor. But at the same time, he'll take stuff just because he needs a paycheck. Or he's a weird dude and he likes to do strange projects. And have a weird, there was some movie he did a few years ago where he just did a horrendous Season of the Witch with that horrible accent he did throughout the whole thing.
Oh, yeah. That was one I saw the trailer for, and I was like, nope, that's going to be a bad Nick Cage.
Or Next was another bad one.
I hate Neck.
That was when he had his like really bad Tom Hanks hair, wasn't it?
Yeah. I thought Next was a okay to bad movie while I watched it, and then it gets to the very end, and I'm gonna totally spoil it, where he goes back in time and negates that whole timeline, and then basically then does it correct, and just negates 3/4 of the movie.
Yeah.
And I hated that movie.
Now I know that movie sucks, kind of, but I love that movie so much.
Hey, sometimes you can do. I mean, there are like you brought up National Treasure, and those aren't good movies.
My kids love them,
but they're fun.
Yeah.
They're just fun. They don't take themselves too seriously, and it's sort of. I feel like he does that a lot with stuff like Next and Knowing and
yeah. The National Treasure movies, I like. You watch Indiana Jones, and you want more Indiana Jones, so you watch The Mummy and Mummy 2,
Mhm.
and you skip Mummy 3, and then you go, okay, well, I want more of that kind of adventure. It's like, well, there's National Treasure 1 and 2.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I put them.
No, you're not wrong. I mean, those are perfectly serviceable. Like I think I saw both of them in theaters, and I remember coming out of it thinking it was a fun little adventure.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be anything more than that. I don't need to have a movie be like high art all the time. I can enjoy just a dumb, fun action romp.
Yeah.
And Nick Cage, trying to run, which is always funny to watch.
I looked up Mom and Dad. It is streaming on Hulu.
Ooh.
So if you want to check out Mom and Dad.
I should watch that. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen Mandy. I hear Mandy is interesting. But then, okay, so I talk about how he's a pretty good actor. Him as Spider-Man Noir in Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, yeah, that was
He
He was great.
Yeah.
He was great in that. Or what was the other one I just had? Just saw it. Kick-Ass.
Yeah, he was good in that too.
He was good in that.
Yeah.
And then there's other times where he just goes crazy and does like Left Behind or the Ghost Rider movies. Ghost Rider, I think it's the first one.
Yeah.
Is proof that if he could undergo surgery to turn himself into a cartoon character, he would do it.
And to get rubber abs.
Yes.
Spartacus 1209 says they liked Waterworld. What do you guys think about Waterworld?
So I know that I've only seen it once, and it was like 10 years ago. But I know for the time it was, hugely over budget, or he had a huge budget and then didn't make it back at all. It was a huge flop.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I think that's where the bad reputation starts. But
Mhm.
I don't know. I mean, if you look at it now, because it's been like 25 years or so, it's probably not that bad. We could probably revisit that.
That's Kevin Costner, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, unpopular opinion. I have never liked a Kevin Costner movie.
Really? Not a single one, huh?
Not
Okay.
other than the Superman.
Right, but he was a
But
a
yeah,
small
that's not
character.
really a Kevin Costner film. So, like, not a fan of 3,000 Miles to Graceland.
I've never seen that actually. How have I
Uh,
never seen that?
I mean, it's Costner playing an Elvis impersonator. Actually, it's Costner and Kurt Russell, and somebody else. There's 3 people in that one
Yeah.
doing
Are they
playing
all
different
Elvis
versions. They're
impersonators?
all Elvis impersonators.
That actually sounds funny.
And that's great because Kurt Russell was one of his early movies was playing Elvis. So
Really?
Uh,
I'd
what
never
about
heard of
Will? Will, what about Hidden Figures?
Oh, yeah, Hidden Figures. Wasn't that Hidden Fences or
No.
no? I never saw Hidden Figures.
Okay.
you didn't like The Bodyguard
The Bodyguard. Oh,
with Whitney Houston?
see, the problem is I've never seen all
Uh,
these great ones that you guys
Okay.
are
Robin
talking
Hood?
about.
Untouchables with Sean Connery.
That's close because I do love Sean Connery.
Sean
a
Connery
fanta-
doing his Irish accent, I say with air quotes, because his Irish accent is Scottish, just like his Russian accent is Scottish.
Has Sean Connery ever not just been Sean Connery in his roles?
No, he's always Sean Connery. And you know what? When you're Sean Connery, you can get away with that.
Did you ever see Silverado, Will? Good. That's a good cowboy
That's a good
movie.
one.
Kevin Costner.
Silverado. I think I'm thinking of Desperado.
That's an Eagles song.
Yeah, I like that song.
Dances with Wolves. That's a classic.
I think I was too young when I saw that because it was just boring.
Okay. Did you like Avatar, and wish it was cowboys instead of aliens?
Wait, Cowboys versus Aliens?
That's a
Now you're
different
speaking
movie.
my
Well,
language.
that's a different movie again. Well, what about I mean, if you're a sports person at all, Bull Durham or Field of Dreams?
I
Those
don't like baseball. What's Bull Durham about?
Okay. Well, Bull Durham is about minor league baseball.
Ah,
So if you're not a
Double
baseball
baseball.
fan, Costner's a huge baseball fan. So he's done at least 3 movies based on the game itself because he did Bull Durham, Field of Dreams, and he did one called what the hell was it called? It was actually directed by Sam Raimi. Why can't I think of the name of it? For Love of the Game.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um,
I know that's one of his other classics.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it since it came out, and it came out in 2007. But I really enjoyed a Kevin Costner movie, Mr. Brooks.
That's one I haven't seen.
I only saw it the one time forever ago, but I remember enjoying it. Dane Cook is in it, along with William Hurt.
I've heard it's okay. There's Open Range. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good cowboy movie.
That's a good modern western.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. So just to find something that you might like, 13
Yeah.
Days, JFK, Tin Cup. Do you like golf?
no, that's another one I'm not a big
Striking
fan of.
out here. Waterworld. To get back to that question, I
Yeah.
actually enjoyed Waterworld. For the same reason, it's just kind of dumb and like there's just stuff that goes on. It made no sense.
Yeah.
And there's
yeah.
plot holes you could drive a truck through, but whatever. It's like Mad Max, but in the water instead of in a desert, and I'm fine with that.
I think I have not seen Waterworld. Sorry to say that, but I think if it was any Kevin Costner movie, I think Waterworld would have the best chance of winning me over.
What about
Well,
Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves?
There's so many different Robin Hood movies that I can't think of which one that is.
Okay, so it's a Robin Hood movie where Robin Hood does not have an English accent, and it also has Morgan Freeman in it, and Christian Slater, and Alan Rickman. And
Oh,
Alan Rickman's worth it alone as the Sheriff of Nottingham.
I think I do remember Rickman in a Robin Hood movie. That does sound familiar.
Yeah.
If it's got Rickman, then maybe it's a
Give
maybe.
it another shot. It's so that was like during the period of time. So he did Dances with Wolves, and then it was Robin Hood, JFK, The Bodyguard. Like he did a bunch of really popular, really well received movies. Wyatt Earp, and then Waterworld. Postman was the other one he did that was just didn't work out so well. He liked to do. It seems like he likes to either do a movie about baseball, post-apocalyptic movies,
Mhm.
or westerns are kind of like his thing.
Yeah, no, that makes sense because those are like his trifecta.
Do you think we could like nail all three? A
In one.
post-apocalyptic water-based baseball game.
Well, he sort of tried to do that with The Postman, and it didn't really work. So full disclosure, I've never actually seen The Postman, but one of my favorite things around that movie was, and I think it was Craig Kilborn at the time, would have been doing one of his shows. I want to say it was Kilborn, but The Postman had come out, and he just stopped and he goes, "Look, I have a message right now for Kevin Costner, okay? And it's no more righty, no more directy, only acty." And ever since then, I'm like, I don't know if I should watch The Postman or not because I kind of just want to keep that in my head.
But
I don't know.
now I really want to watch it just to see how bad it is.
Hey, Tom Petty's in it, so how bad could it be, really?
Yeah. Okay. But all right. I had more like headlines that we could try to improv, but then the conversation went really well. So it's like,
Guys, Harvey Weinstein got sentenced to 23 years.
was
No,
it? Is it like the second one, or is it just is that the first one? Because I know he was like
It's the
in New
first.
York.
Yeah, that's the first
All right.
sentencing that he's had.
I just didn't know if the second trial had happened yet. Because
No, he
And-
had gotten convicted, but they hadn't done the sentencing yet. They just did that, and yeah, it was whatever,
Okay.
23 years or something, which
okay. Oh,
basically a lifetime sentence for him at his age.
right. Yeah.
And
Well,
Yeah, I
deservedly
mean, did
so.
you see how frail he is? He's got like a walker
he's got
now.
he's
Poor
got
guy.
the walker. Yeah.
I don't
totally
think,
valid.
honestly,
Oh, yeah.
guys, I don't think he could have done anything with how frail he is.
Uh huh. Sorry, Travis. I should have warned you about.
Oh.
Will.
That's all right. I know how to roll with the punches.
All right, cool. But I think that's gonna kind of wrap us up on time.
Okay.
So they seen.
Could you repeat, Tyler? You cut out for me.
Did I?
Yes, me too.
Okay. So where can people find Travis? Where can people find you, Travis, and your show?
So I basically centered everything around my my online name because I have a gigantic ego and I have to feed it constantly. So
Perfect.
you can find my show at tvstravis.com, tvstravis.com. It's available on like Spotify, or not Spotify, but iTunes and all that. But because the name is horrible, it's easier to go to the website and then subscribe from there. But basically any social media, Twitter, Instagram, any of those. Instagram is just pictures of my dog. Twitter is me randomly talking about whatever comes to mind. It's all TV Stravis.
Okay, real quick. I know that I started wrapping up things, but why TV's Travis as an online name?
So I like I grew up as a huge Mystery Science Theater 3000 fan, and early on they had a character as one of the mad scientists. It was Dr. I can't think of his name now. But his sidekick was TV's Frank.
Okay.
And that was sort of like the running joke back in the 70s and 80s. You'd have TV's whoever when they would guest star on something. TV's Brian Dennehy, something like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it was TV's Frank. So I kind of took that. Plus, I had done some public access TV here in my hometown.
Okay, so it is
So
valid. You've been on the
I
television.
have been on television.
Okay.
So it just fit, and it was also unique enough that I could get it everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Which is always a plus.
Yeah.
So
Sometimes I Chromecast our own podcast onto the TV, and then I'm like, I'm on the television.
There you go.
there's nothing wrong. I got nothing against that. But
Twitch
cool.
is like the public access channel.
Yeah, see, I really wish that we had done, if my group of friends of mine were 5 years younger than we are,
Mhm.
we would have been all over the beginning of YouTube. Because we were wrapping up doing our sketch comedy on public access right around the time that YouTube was starting to gain traction. Kind of that 07, 08 era. Or we would have been all over that. We were just too early, I guess. We were hipsters. We were
Yeah.
YouTube hipsters.
Ahead of your time.
See, I think I was too late to my true calling as 1950s radio host. Describing
Yeah.
news events. Now, the corona outbreak has really destroyed the whole population's ability to go out and go to sporting events. That would have been my thing, but
Yeah, doing that. What was that? The Mid-Atlantic accent? Is that what it's called? Something
I
like
always
that?
think of it as the 50s accent. That's just how
What-
everyone talked back then.
Have you ever seen video clips where there'll be like an outtake from a movie from like the 30s and 40s, and they're talking like that, and then all of a sudden they go like it's the outtake, and they're just talking normal.
No,
Really?
I've-
And for all of my life, I just thought that's how people talked
yeah.
at that point. And no, it's not. It was literally a way, and some of it had to do, from what I read anyway, with microphone technology at the time.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
easier to pick up their voice if they were talking in that kind of a tenor.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's so jarring to hear that, because they'll be doing that voice, and then all of a sudden they just stop, and he's like, "All right, we need to do that again." It's like, whoa, wait a second, that
Wow.
doesn't sound right at all.
Huh, that's crazy.
I'll never look at Cary Grant the same way.
None of us will, because he's dead. But
True.
So it's a great place to end the show. Will, play that outro music that Travis and I can't hear.
I'll play that beautiful, beautiful outro music. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
And I don't think I meant I don't like Kevin Costner. I meant I don't like Whoopi Goldberg. I can't believe I confused
Oh.
them. Sorry, guys.
See,
Yeah.
that'll happen. Boy, that
Nice
is
have